All right, thank you very much. Good evening to everybody. Thank you, Thelma, for that great introduction. I do want to add my welcome to all of you, and thank you for being here, joining us for this special occasion, our LEAP Awards Dinner Gala. And I also appreciate your support of LEAP, as well as our fabulous honorees that we'll be featuring tonight. I also want to point out and thank the following sponsors. Our VIP reception sponsor, Toyota Financial Services. I think we have them up here. I also want to acknowledge and thank our president sponsors, the Coca-Cola Company, Diversity Inc., the Kaili White Family, KPMG, Prudential Financial, and UPS. And then I also want to thank and acknowledge our executive sponsors, Anheuser-Busch, Northrop Grumman, and Target Corporation. Well, you know, last year, actually, interestingly, I was even asked this tonight. So last year, I stood before you all for the first time as the president and CEO of LEAP. And I had been in that role for about 6 months, so I had not quite yet fully completed a year. But today, I stand before all of you having completed my first full year, technically, plus the 6 months before that. So yes, I have survived, and actually it was kind of amusing. JD and I went out, we had a chance to go out and see Bill Ochi, who's a former LEAP board member, and one of the questions that he asked me is, he says, so has the board tried to fire you yet? And I said, no, is that a bad thing? So I do want to say, you know, I'm very proud to be able to stand here before you all. And share with you another story. Last year, and this is what was asked of me, someone said, well, you know, you told a great story last year, and I thought, well, that's interesting that you asked this question. I thought I'd share another story with you in terms of, so what's happened to me in that year's time since I last stood before you. And so in that time frame, I've been asked a lot of questions, but one of the questions that I've been asked the most is, what have I learned being in this new role? And at first I was thought, and it kind of is also preceded by how's it going? And one of the, I guess, as I reflected on what I've been telling people, I realized that there's 3 things that I've been telling people about what I've learned. And I think these are the 3 things that stand out the most for me. The first thing I learned was, I am the cover. I am the cover, and some of you may know what that means. I realize that now I no longer have to be, or am able to say, well, if something doesn't go well, I have cover. I can always blame JD. I realize I am the cover now. Everybody else is going to blame me if something goes wrong. So that was one big aha for me. And it's a different kind of responsibility, I think, that you accept when you take on a role like this. The second big aha for me is it doesn't matter if JD won't like it. And it's funny, I know it sounds funny, but you know, it came in a conversation that I was having with someone, and I found myself just about to say, JD won't like it. Then I realized, wait a minute, it doesn't matter if he won't like it because he's no longer the boss. So that was my second big lesson learned. And then the third one, and this actually came from one of our honorees tonight, but it's a very important lesson, I think, in the sense that while it may, I'll say this. So the third lesson is this lesson, cover payroll. And for me, the lesson is really, I'm responsible for a lot of other people, and that whatever I do, it doesn't affect only me. And for a lot of you, you may manage a lot of people, but you know, where this organization goes, I realize the livelihoods of other people also rest on me, and it's not just about, you know, are we going to cut divisions, are we going to, you know, cut products and other things like that. We're talking in a much bigger scale, and I think these are the things that I believe no one could have prepared me for, or even if they did try, I realized that it didn't have any real meaning until I stepped into the job. And I think for me, this was, you know, the biggest realization being in this particular role. And I also, as I reflected on what I'm going to say and share with you tonight, I realized that this is an experience that that potentially a lot of Asian and Pacific Islanders may never have, or at least have the option of being able to consider, that they will be in a role where they will be covered. They won't necessarily have to worry about whether or not JD likes it or not, but there may be someone else that they will have to worry about whether someone likes it or not. And they'll also be in the position, potentially, having to worry about, the livelihoods of a lot of other people. And so as I thought about this, I thought, okay, whether it's the boardrooms of the largest corporations, foundations, or nonprofits in the US, where board members are often drawn from the ranks of CEOs and other executive officers, I realize there's a key word here when it comes to Asian and Pacific Islanders, and that word is zero. 3/4 of Fortune 500 companies do not have someone of Asian or Pacific Islander heritage on their board. Over 70% of the 100 largest US foundations, organizations that have been formed to serve people, do not have Asian or Pacific Islanders on their boards. And over half of the 100 largest nonprofit organizations do not have someone of Asian or Pacific Islander heritage on their boards. And so it's a sobering thought when you think about that word zero and its context to Asian and Pacific Islanders. And then another way to look at it is when we look at the fact that there are only 2% of Asian and Pacific Islander executive officers nationally, that means there is a pool of 98% who are not even yet in the pipeline. And the question is, where are they in the pipeline? And that at 421 of the Fortune 500 companies, they don't have someone who is Asian or Pacific Islander in their executive office, or who is an executive officer. So it means that two things. It may be depressing, but it could also mean a lot of good things, that there is opportunity for greater Asian and Pacific Islander leadership growth, because we have this humongous pool of people who are ready, who are capable, who are willing to step into those roles. But it also means that there's a greater need for continual leadership development, and I'll also even say advocacy for us as leaders in these spaces, whether it's, again, the boardrooms of the largest corporations, foundations, or nonprofits, or I'll also add universities and colleges and the halls of government as well too. So in a world that's significantly and rapidly more global, we all need to stop asking why, because I think we probably have a good idea about why, and we need to start asking who. So who is responsible? And I would say, who is you? Who is me? Who is all of us? Who is Asian and Pacific Islanders and all of our allies, all of our advocates across all cultures and communities? Because we cannot do it alone. We all need to step up and take responsibility. So who is going to do something about it? I think we can all do something about it. I think for those of us who are not yet in a role where we're in an executive office or at the CEO level, share your interest. Let others know that you are interested and step into those opportunities when it's offered to you. Trust me, you will learn. Create and support opportunities for other Asian and Pacific Islanders to develop their skills if you are in a role where you can do that. Mentor, sponsor, and promote talented APIs. So then what's LEAP going to do? Well, I'm pleased to announce tonight 2 new programs that we're in the process and have developed. First is, I'm pleased to announce the launch of A+, an association of Asian corporate directors. Last year I talked about a corporate board initiative. This year I get to now announce that it is actually coming to fruition. And so with this, for the last 5 years, I want to say that we've been putting out an API board representation reports. Educating and informing society is one of our key pillars. And so with that, what we now want to do is not just educate and inform, we want to take people to action and ultimately increase the number of Asian and Pacific Islanders on corporate boards by facilitating and developing a networking and support community of Asian and diverse corporate directors. And then later on, be able to inform and help build that pipeline of that next generation of corporate directors. Our second new program is and it's a mouthful, Asian and Pacific Islander Women's Executive Director Nonprofit Leadership Program, or NLP for short. So across the nonprofit spectrum, women are increasingly leading small to medium-sized organizations just across the board. It doesn't matter whether you're Asian, whether you're African American, Latino, or white. Women are leading small to medium-sized organizations. But within the Asian and Pacific Islander community, we're definitely seeing that. But we also don't often have those opportunities for leadership development. And so with the generous support of the Walmart Foundation and Southwest Airlines, we are launching the NLP to give Asian and Pacific Islander women executive directors and their boards of directors, or the board leadership, the skills they need to be successful and effective, and also the peer-to-peer learning and support to build stronger API communities. And so, on that note, as an API Women CEO, I want to say that I'm fortunate to have a lot of people that I can call on for support, advice, and also a good kick in the pants too, because sometimes I do need that. Without them, there would be no me, and there would definitely be no lead. So lastly, I want to just add one more lesson. I realized I need to add one more lesson to the 3 lessons that I learned. And that is, I've learned to believe in myself because others have believed in me and are believing in me. And I've also learned that, you know what, it may seem scary when you get that opportunity to step into a leadership role. And you may think, can I do this? But you know what? What they all say is true. You will fly and you will learn, definitely. And so I want to leave you, actually before I turn to the video, I want to just leave you with one last thought about the who. And that is, who cares? We all should care that we have Asian and Pacific Islanders who are represented in leadership, because we need diverse leaders. I know I care, all of the LEAP board and staff care, all of our sponsors, funders, and donors care, and I know that all of the participants, alumni, and recipients of our services care. And I know most certainly tonight's honorees care, because they are doing things for their communities as well too. And so I challenge all of you to also care and do what you can to help ensure that we have more diverse leaders. And so with that, I'm gonna end my remarks, and I wanna say thank you to all of you. And tonight I get a chance to also do one more task, which is to introduce the video. And as I mentioned, we have a wonderful group of honorees, and they're a great reflection of the diversity in our community. And it's also, I think, they are a great reflection of our community leadership programs as well, too. So we wanted to share a little bit of a window into the experience that many of our honorees and our alumni have experienced through our programs. And so with that, I hope you do enjoy this short video.